Hello, this is Angela. Thanks for joining me. In today's video, I'll be running through a few different exercises which combine an element of both stretching and strengthening at the same time. So you're getting the best of both worlds. So come and join me on the mat.
Most of these exercises are going to be Pilates-centric that I'm showing you today. And I'm going to start with a stretch, which will move into a very well-known Pilates exercise called single leg stretch. So as you can see in this one, where on our back, you're extending one leg out as far as you can, either up towards the ceiling or the sky in this case, in the distance, or towards the floor if you have the range and the flexibility through the front of the leg and the hip flexor. If you are tight in the hip flexors, you probably will struggle a little bit to actually get that leg close to the ground as you're doing it. But with practice, you become a little bit better at it. You're also seeing by actually lifting the top half of my body, my chest and head, I'm also adding a lot of core work to this one. You may be familiar with this next exercise. This is called the bridge. And in this exercise, essentially, we're pushing down into our heels, bringing our hips off the ground, trying to create a straight line essentially from our knees right through to our shoulders, through the body. So this requires some strength, first in our core to make sure that we're not overarching our back in the process. A lot of the strength from this comes from using the glutes and also the back of the legs, the hamstrings in particular as well, and also sort of the calves because we're really pushing down into the heels to actually help to give us that elevation. One way that we can make this exercise harder is by lifting one leg off the ground. That movement of just taking that leg straight out into the distance really gives us a lovely stretch right through the front of the leg and into the hip flexors. But at the same time, we're really enhancing the strength component of this exercise. We're just working one side of the body, one glute, one leg holding and the lifting, so they're having to work much harder. And at the same time, the core is working harder as well because the body will want to rotate a little bit to counterbalance the fact that you're only holding it up by one side of the body, one leg. So a lot of our oblique muscles and deeper core muscles are switching on when we add this element of difficulty to the exercise. This next exercise is actually a combination move. We're going from a plank to a down dog and back to a plank. From a strength perspective, this has a few areas that we're working. Obviously, our core when we're in that plank position, because it really has to work hard to make sure that we're not putting any strain on our lower back, as well as our shoulders, our wrists, to actually hold us in that position. While we move into that down dog, we're still doing quite a little work through the shoulders because we're adding a lot of movement in that part of the body. We're also getting an enhanced stretch right through the back of the body when we're going into that down dog. So the stretch will go right from the plantar area of our foot, right through the calves, the hamstrings, and into our back. This next exercise is a combination move. It's a side plank, and we're also adding that stretch right through the upper side of the body there. So with the side plank, the obliques, which is the waist muscles, are working pretty hard on the side that's closest to the ground. So as we're working one side, one set of obliques, the other side is being stretched. And here is another variation on that move. You can do that side plank on your toes, but also we're adding the thread the needle. And in the process, this is actually working the shoulders. It's giving us a stretch right through the back of the body as well as the side of the body. Due to wardrobe malfunction, I might move on. This is the roll-up exercise, and we're combining it with a hamstring stretch. So we're sort of reaching forward, hinging to reach forward for that one. So as you can see, as I go down, I've created a curve through my back there, and the exercise requires you to actually go down one vertebrae at a time. So you feel as if you're articulating your spine as you're moving through here. So there's a lot of core engagement, a lot of control to actually be able to do this exercise. Lower back is very exposed in this type of move, so it is very important to make sure that the right muscles are engaged to do the job. The stretch aspect of this move is more obvious when we're in that seated and hinging forward position. So the whole back of the body, the legs and the back will be feeling that stretch. Our final exercise is called saw. And in this exercise, we rotate and also lean forward, pretending to saw off our little toe in the process. It does require quite an element of core control to be able to do this. And we're getting quite a bit of a stretch of flexibility right through the legs, back of the hips, but also along the upper back as well, and into the back of the arms.
I hope you found some of those moves useful, and hopefully you're already incorporating some of these in your fitness routine. It is very important to actually have flexibility as we age, but flexibility is important because it's a pathway to better mobility. So if we can do exercises that incorporate both flexibility and movement at the same time, you're really actually sort of putting the two putting the two parts of the puzzle together, because flexibility is no use unless we can actually apply it to movement. And fitness exercises, strength exercises that involve flexibility are a great way of doing this as well. Thanks for joining me, and if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe below, somewhere there, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.